I'd really just like to take a moment to reflect on what Labour Women's Declaration has achieved. And I'd just like us to think back to where we were when we started. I just want you to just take a few seconds just to think back a few years, because it's easy to sit here now and forget what a battle it has been to get to this place and to this space where actually the entire meeting, I think, is entirely dedicated to the substantive issues that women are facing in their lives, and these are the fights that we want to take on. I want to, remember what we have faced, and I also want us to remember what we have overcome, because we have been involved in a colossal struggle, and we are really starting to get somewhere. Just look at us now. Look at the way Labour Women's Declaration have operated at Labour Party conference this year, and I think we should just repeat that applause for the whole team who have worked brilliantly. And it is fabulous to have two women MPs on the panel again here tonight, speaking up for women. But I do want to pay tribute to lots of other brave women in the union movement and in the Labour Party who actually paved the way in far more hostile times. I mean, I can't list them all, but immediately people who come to mind: Rosie Duffield, Tanya Antoniazzi, Diana Johnson, Marsha de Cordova, Joanne Lamont. I mean, I know there are people I've left out, but I just want to, remember those women too. The Labour Party may not be quite in the place we want it to be on women's rights, especially on sex-based rights, but we are getting there, and it is important to stop and mark these milestones. It is in a far better place than it was, and the reason for that, honestly, is the collective energy, the principled determination, and the relentless organising of women in the movement. People in this room and further afield have modelled what can be achieved when women come together and organise. And I just think it is inspirational what has been achieved over the last few years. People have talked about the importance of collective organising, and I think it has just been such a wonderful thing to witness and to be part of. Now, we all know that the fight for women's rights is far from over. We know the litany of wrongs women face in all aspects of our lives. We have heard about some of them tonight. I did start making a list while women were speaking about the long list of things that we've got to tackle. And I was going to read some of them out, but frankly, the list is so long and so terrifying that I think it might just demoralise you. So I'm not going to do that. You were listening. You heard what they are. They are huge fights. But we have also heard a lot of hope, a lot of optimism, and a lot of strength about what needs to be done and the fact that we can do it. As Tracy said, just do it. We have to just get on and take these things on. Doing that means being present in every part of this movement. Okay, that means being present and active in our CLPs. That means being present and active in our union branches, in policy-making bodies, in our conferences. All the systems and structures that have failed us must be made to work for us. And this is work, honestly, that we must take on, because they will not change if we do not take this work on. If we leave it to other people, we will end up with systems that fail us once again. So it is understandable that many women, faced with the obstructions or abuse that have become disillusioned with this movement. I get that. And the fight over sex and gender aside, just the amount of sexism and misogyny that abounds in the movement still, I understand that disillusionment. We have been let down. We've been let down by organisations who are supposed to represent us. We've been ignored, we've been attacked, we've been demonised. But we are still here because this is our party and this is our movement. And we refuse to be expelled by either. In particular, I know that a lot of women have a lot of disillusionment in their unions. I share that disillusionment, but I believe that unions remain a powerful force, and that they can work for women. Women do make up the majority of trade union membership. It's important to realise that. There is a whole mass of women out there that if we can, get to and support, can become a real force in that movement. There has been talk about building a new women's union. But it would be really, really, really hard, I think, to replace the existing infrastructure of unions or to tempt women away from that kind of workplace representation. So established unions will continue to function and they will continue to make decisions for us, whether we are part of those union structures or not. I think we should be part of those union structures, making sure that those unions are working for us. They do make a positive difference in women's lives, okay? Women in unions have better pay and better working conditions, it's a fact, than women who do not. Unions do produce and provide guidance, support, advice on a wealth of issues. Okay, my own union, the NEU, has worked closely with UK Feminista to produce materials challenging sexism and sexual harassment with young people. Transport unions campaign for safer transport. Lots of unions have workplace toolkits on domestic violence and the menopause. But there is no question that, despite all that, unions do need to do much better for women, which is why Filia did commission research to see what actions it is that for women that are being prioritised, by unions. And to see if they align. If they align with the work that we want to do, then why aren't we working more closely? It is clear, actually, when you look at the motions brought to TUC and Scottish TUC over the last 5 years, that actually the things that concern women in unions are the same things that concern many of us in this room and in our wider organisations. Sorry, I've lost my place. And that does include motions calling out, challenging the sexism and misogyny in the unions themselves, which I think is really, really important. I think it's tempting to just say, my union's done this, I'm really pissed off, I'm leaving. I get that. I get that desire to make that gesture. But in the end, you are removing yourself from the chance to actually change that organisation for the better and to work better for the women in the organisation. A quarter of the motions that have been through TUC conferences in the last 5 years are to do with sexual harassment, violence. The unions do a lot of work, research and working, with lobbying, with governments and so on. We cannot afford to lose contact with that kind of organising structure. And so we have to just make them work for us. Historically, unions have won real gains for women. They've made a huge difference in the material quality of our lives. I'm not going to list all the things they've done. They have done a load. Okay, they do need to do more, but this movement needs women at its heart and at its head, and that is why I am saying to you: do not leave your union. Get in there, change it, make it work for women, okay? Tracy Gilbert talked about just doing it. We need proper engagement. We need proportionate representation of women in positions of power and agency. And if we can get that, it would not only change unions for the better, it would actually give us the power to transform society. And I think we are talking about radical overhaul of society. It's not good enough the way it's working. We've heard from all the women on how many ways, count the ways in which this society fails us. We must have nothing short of an absolute root and branch transformation of the society in which we live. And I think unions have to be part of the answer in doing that. Filia wants to strengthen the hands of women already in unions. So if you're in a union out there tonight and you're not really active or you'd like support in being more active, okay, we want to talk to you. If you're not in a union and I'm tempting you to join your union, we want to help you. We want to support you, find out what you need to know to get involved in your union. And in the coming months, we're going to be looking at ways to do that. So we're going to be trying to talk to as many women in the union movement as we can to make sure that we are offering the support that's going to help you take up your rightful place. Let us know. Contact Filia, contact me, Lisa Marie and other women for Filia are in the room. You can contact us and be part of this project that we want to do. Because winning real change in the unions cannot be done from the top down. It cannot be done. It must be done, like Labour Women's Declaration have demonstrated, by collective grassroots organising. Jess Phillips talked about holding each other up, holding the ladder. That is what we need to do for each other within this movement. That means being a member. It means knowing the rule book. It means navigating the protocols, the systems. It means tabling issues, motions, being part of the debate, speaking up. Doesn't matter if you don't like public speaking. Here's a little clue. No one likes public speaking. You just do it because it's what needs to be done. And if you don't speak for yourself, somebody else will speak for you. We need to work with others to promote our concerns and ideas. And most importantly, we must not relinquish our place, our rightful place in this movement. Labour Women's Declaration have shown what can be achieved by groups of determined women within hostile structures. Let's be clear about that. Let's take their model into our unions and into our workplaces. Let's win the actions called for by the speakers on this panel. I'm not expecting you to do all those things all at once, but, pick something and start working on it. And let's work together to win these changes that we know will transform not only the lives of women and girls, but also the society in which we all live. Thank you so much.